everyone, Artie Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Klinger here, and today I'm making this bold and bright piece using lots of Marlene's latest lines. So let's get straight into it. I'll go through what I used. So I used the new Signature Collection paper elements. I end up not using the quotes, but I always grab them out in case I do. I use the perfect size new journal, and I use the one-way ticket stamp set, and then I've also grabbed out the couple of stencils there. So one is called Flower Tile and the other is Dotty Dreams. And I end up not using the papers as well, but I always grab those out. And then for colours of paint, I've got Cheesy, Police, Ballet, Kissy, Smurf, Royal and Azure. I think I grabbed Mermaid as well as I'm going, and then I have the black and white washi tape as well. Plus black, of course, and white paint and the sticky glue. So I'll just go through and grab a page out of my journal. Use the back of the rainbow one that I created. So if you'd like to see that, it is in the videos previously. Also with all the products, I have listed them as well in the comments. And of course I grabbed lots of my Marlene brushes. Now this one, I grab a couple of elements out of the paper elements. And I love that girl who's taking her bra off at the end of the day. And I was thinking about how that really is a beautiful time of day, and also it's quite relaxing and it signifies home. Home is where you take your bra off. So that's what I was thinking with this page. And what I'm doing is I've just popped out a house and a couple of other elements, and I'm just trimming off the little bit of white edge on a couple of them. A couple of them I'm happy to leave it there, but others I do want to take them off. Okay, so excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold. So if I start spluttering, you know what's going on. So what I do now is I've just creating the background. So the colours that I'm using are basically in that lady's dress who's taking her bra off, and I'm simply just coming in with I started with Royal, then I've come in with Police, which is the navy, then also a bit of the Smurf and the Cheesy, and then I add a bit of Kissy on top, and I am just simply popping this on in random spots and using my finger to spread it out. It is really just a layer because I will build on this. So I'm not too worried about it. Some of the colours blend a little bit, and that's okay. So now I come in and add some mark making just to build some depth behind my page. So I start again with that Royal, and I'm actually just beginning where I've got it on my page and just with the flat brush doing a few marks to bring it outwards. And I'm doing the same here with the Kissy, which is the hot pink. And then every now and then I'll come in with a bit more paint. There might be a little patch of area that I don't like the way it's blended, so I come in and add a little bit more paint. So now I decide to bring in some white. So the secret to using, big bold colours is to always bring your contrast in with your black and your white. So I'm coming in with the white and I'm just quickly popping some down over the paint. I do make sure the paint is dry. Then I lay down my stencil, which I did the Flower Tile, which I just love that stencil. It's appearing in all my work at the moment. Anyway, I lay that down and then I pour the white paint up through the stencil using a wet baby wipe. Okay, so then I added in a little bit of some of the Dotty Dreams stencil using some pink colours just to, create another layer and depth to the page. And then I'm just coming in with little bits of paint and just kind of adding bits here and there. So I really love the colour Smurf, so I'm coming in with Smurf, just popping a bit on with my finger, and then I come in with that same flower tile stencil, and I try and match it up so that it joins in with the white, and then I rub some of that back off, and you'll just see it sort of gives a bit of an ombre effect to your stenciling. Okay, so now I've grabbed the cheesy, and I've grabbed at the very end of a one of the artist sponges. Now these are great not just for stenciling, but also for making marks on your page. So I've just grabbed the smaller end, dabbed it in my paint, and then dabbed it over my page to sort of make some little lines. And I've done the same with white as well. So now I start to sort of play around with where I think I want my little elements. I'm having a hunt for another little house there. I find that cute little crown which suits the page. And now I decide to come in with some washi tape. Now you will see that I end up changing this. I actually started half of this project, you know, recorded half, and then I came back 3 weeks later. I've had a really busy 3 weeks, and I finished it, and I actually decided to change the washi. But anyway, at this stage what I'm thinking is I'll make some little heels for her. I thought I'd keep it in. I'm a bit of a believer in you seeing my whole process, and when I explain what I'm doing, I think it helps people perhaps when they get a little bit lost or they do something they don't like, they can see that it is actually part of the process and it's just another layer, and you know when to sort of go over it and when to just keep pushing. So yeah, I always keep it real and leave it in so that you can see what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm finding a few more elements with my page. And at this stage I'm not quite happy, and not long after this is where I left it. But what I have done here is I've come in with that gorgeous postage stamp from the ticket stamp set, and I'm using I think I'm using Mermaid here, and I am just randomly stamping it in a focal sort of area underneath where all my little images will go. So it's building again that layer, and I'm still, as I said, I'm not quite happy. So when I'm not quite happy, I just keep adding a few elements here and there, and until I am. All right, so I've given it a dry off. See if I like that better. I mean, I cover up a lot of those stamped images, but you do see hints of them poking out. And I think that's what's really important when you're doing an art journal page, is to have, you know, layer upon layer, so that it's really hard to actually see what you've done when you look at the final process. So still playing around, still not sure where I want things. Deciding I didn't go out far enough with my stamping, so adding in a few more. That stamp's gorgeous. Look at it. I did a really nice background one a couple of videos ago, which I did with watercolour, and I just loved those sort of rectangles in the background. Okay, so now I grab out of the same one ticket stamp, there's little crosses or pluses, and I've grabbed those out and done a bit of black stenciling, and just done that in a couple of areas across my page. So this is when I walked away, and it was actually, I would have kept going, but the lighting was getting dark and I had to get packing because I was heading away. So I've come back a few weeks later, fresh eyes, and thought, I don't like those kind of heels that I've created. So what I did was I pulled off the washi, and I just reused it with a little bit along 3 of the edges. And then I decide that perhaps what the problem is the page is quite strong with colour, and perhaps I need to tone it down a little bit by adding a little bit of black. So I get some black paint and I run it around the edge with my finger, and now I'm actually using the lid of the black paint, and I'm pushing it into the paint and then using it like a stamp, so it creates those cool little rings on my page. So I'm sort of focusing it in 3 areas on my page. And I'm starting to go, okay, it's starting to come together now. The black seemed to help with all those colours that are sort of fighting with each other. So now I've grabbed the Dotty stencil again and I continue that stamping. And again in 3 kind of clusters, and I want it to look like it's moving across the page. So I'm happier with that as my background. So I think, yes, I will start to pop down some of these elements. So just again figuring out where I want them. And then I just use the sticky glue to start gluing them on. What I was doing here is I am actually hunting for her little crown. I can't find it. So I'm lifting things up and looking underneath and looking on the floor, wondering where it's gone. So I don't find it while I'm videoing, but I do find it as I clean up afterwards. So I do pop her on behind the scenes before I take the photos. So now I'm just using a black pen just to highlight around, draw around those buildings, and then I decide she needs to be grounded. She needs something to stand on. So I add a little bit of black paint and just make, a little bit of ground for her to be placed upon. Then I do the journaling on that little tag that's in the paper elements, and I stamp the approved stamp, which is also from the ticket stamp, because I think that helps to continue to tell that story. And at this stage I'm just adding little bits of black, so thickening up my border a little bit in places using a brush, thickening up the ground she's standing on. And then I use a Stabilo All pencil, which is a water soluble pencil, just to go around the edge of her, and that just creates a little shadow behind her and helps her to move forward off of the page. So she looks like she's more in the foreground than the other elements. And that's about it. So you'll see in these photos I have added the little crown, but I'll give you some close-ups so you can see a bit more of the detail and a bit more of the background. But yeah, lots of fun, lots of bright colours, and I guess hang in there. Sometimes things take a little while to come together, but eventually they do. So thanks for stopping by. I would love to hear what you think. Leave me a comment. Bye.